When it comes to this situation with Naziah Harris, it is so strange to me. And I truly in my heart feel that everyone should be investigated. Every woman that ever had a relationship with him, every person who had contact with him, every woman who has children with him, they need to have their phone records pulled. They need to go through their text messages. They need to go through their search information to see what they were searching for, what information they was trying to gather, because it doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to share some information with you, and then I'm going to come back.
I want to read over some information with you. Okay. Butts is also being charged for the sexual abuse of two other girls in separate cases. The girls was under the age of 13 at the time the offense occurred, according to Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy. One of those victims, who is now 20 years old, was allegedly assaulted by Butts from April 2012 to April 2014 at a residence in Detroit. He is being charged with one count of first-degree criminal sexual conduct and three counts of second-degree criminal sexual conduct, all involving a child under 13 years of age. The other additional victim, who is now 13 years old, was allegedly assaulted by Butts from July 2015 to July 2017 at a residence in Detroit. He was charged with one count of second degree criminal sexual conduct, again involving a child under 13. Mr. Butt targeted and befriended women to have sexual relationship with their young daughters, said Worthy. He would have relationship with their mother, but his true desire was to have sex with their young daughters. That's what the evidence will show. Butts is expected to be arraigned after 10 a.m. on Friday. Prosecutor details Butts' alleged crime against Naziah Harris. Harris knew Butts through family member and allegedly met up with him after school on January 9th. Excuse me. Evidence shows that she excuse me. Evidence shows that she sent a message to Butts from her tablet, which indicated they was going to meet up after school that day. After school, she met up with Butts and a coworker, and she went with them to their auto repair shop on Connor in Detroit, according to the prosecutor's office. At 9:30 p.m. that night, Butts allegedly checked into a motel, which is confirmed by a receipt and his phone putting him at the location. Harris was never seen again after January the 9th. The prosecutor office says Butts knew Harris because he is the father of children with Naziah's biological aunt. Butts allegedly started sending Harris sexual explicit texts in September 2022. In September 2023, she allegedly sent Butts a text saying she had not had her period. And in November 2023, Butts was aware Harris was pregnant, according to evidence. Phone records also show that Butts has been searching for abortion options online. On January 10th, the day after Harris has been last seen, Butts was allegedly in the area of Rue River in Detroit. The clothes that Harris was last seen wearing was found in this area. The evidence in the case was clearly show that the defendant alleged actions was beyond predatory and excuse me, The evidence in this case will clearly show that the defendant's alleged actions was beyond predatory, says Worthy. They was vultures. He groomed and preyed upon Naziah with his experience, with expertise. We will provide that he killed young Naziah after he found out she was pregnant at 13 with his child. Background on Naziah Harris' case. The 13-year-old was last seen getting off her school bus at the corner of Conwell and 3 Mile Drive on January 9th. Her family reported her missing to school district authorities. The next day, then on February 13th, the Detroit Department took over the investigation. During the press conference, Worthy noted that the investigation would have moved forward faster if the school district had turned the case over sooner. Since then, investigators have searched several locations according to city and Michigan State Police searched a pond in Clinton Township. Police said tips had led them to an area of Root River located behind Greater Grace Temple off 7 Miles Road and Shawnee's. De- Detroit police were assisted by 13 other locals, state, and federal partners during the search. There is something very specific about this area that we want to take off this list. And that's why we're here today. Detroit Police Chief James White had said at the time of the search. On August 15, the prosecutor's office announced it was working to determine whether to file charges after receiving a warrant request from from the Detroit Police Department. At the time, the prosecutor's office said it would take time to complete the review and wouldn't release any additional details about this request. Suzanne Law is a federal law concerning missing persons signed into law as part of the National Amber Alert. It provides that there shall be no waiting period before a law enforcement agency initiate any investigation of a missing person under the age of 21 and reports the missing person to the NCIC. Okay, I want to go over this small part as well as a conviction for sexual assault in 2005. Prosecutor calls Butts a serial child rapist who sexually assaulted an 8-year-old family member and a girlfriend's 4-year-old daughter, who reportedly caught chlamydia from the assault. Okay, so you see all the timelines within that information I went over as far as when he was initially convicted in 2005 for essaying a child, and then he stayed in prison for 7 years. He got out in 2012. In 2012, he continued to do what he initially went to prison for, which is essay of a child. So he essayed a child from 2012 to 2014. In between that time, in 2013, that is when he initially got with Shannon, according to Shannon, during that time period. And that's when he met Naziah, who was 2 years old at the time. He continued, even though he was in a relationship or messing around or whatever you want to call it with Shannon, he continued to essay children because he continued from 2015 to 2017. Another 2 years, he essayed a particular child. Knowing what he was convicted of, knowing what he was guilty of, knowing what his preference was, little girls, Shannon still continued to be with him. Shannon still continued to have a relationship with him to the point that she ended up having 5 kids with him, bringing him around the family and everything. And the other thing that gets me is they initially said that Jarvis was messing with Marquita, which is Shannon
twin sister. So he was messing around with twins. The moral compass of these people is just non-existent, because why would you want to hook up with a man, one, that was essaying children, two, that was with your twin sister at any point in time, in any type of way? Why would you want to be with a man like that? But unfortunately, she chose to do so. In my heart of heart, I feel that she knew that back in 2022, when he initially started messing with or texting Naziah, they knew, every woman that was in that house knew what was going on, because the grandmother was allowing this man, because she lied on stage by saying he never had access to the house, but he had access to the house on multiple occasions. And she was also allowing him to come into the house to do repairs, knowing what he did and knowing that there was children around. Then the other part that stood out to me is the time frame as far as when Naziah went missing. When you look at the information, they stated that she did not come home from school on January the 9th. The grandmother went and reported her to the school board on January the 10th. The school district did not report her to the police or turn the information over to the police until February the 13th. So my question is, why was there such a gap in the time frame from the time the child went missing to the time that the child was reported to the police? I showed a video the other day where Naziah's brother was stating that his grandmother called him on the 9th to report, to let him know that Naziah did not come home from school and she was missing. He stated that when he walked in the house, she was telling him, the grandmother, Annette, was telling Bari that she was on the phone with the detective and they told her that she had to wait 24 hours. But on the stand, she stated that she reported her missing on the 9th. So to me, they're trying to have that gap in time. They're allowing this time to go by for whatever is going on with Naziah to continue. Whether Jarvis killed her, whether she was trafficked, they're allowing that time frame to go by, because she know if she would have said to Naziah's brother, hey, your sister's missing, somebody would have said, hey, did you call the police? Let's call the police. She didn't want that to happen. The grandmother, Annette, did not want that to happen, because if Bari is telling the truth, that she stated she was on the phone with the detective and they told her that she had to wait 24 hours, why are you lying? Unless you want time to elapse, unless you want time to go by to hide her body or to traffic her, unless you wanted that time to go by, you would not have lied. And then instead of going to the police department, picking up the phone on the 9th to call the police department to say that she was missing, you didn't do that. Instead of going to the police department in the morning, you went to the school board. And then the reason I say everybody needs to be investigated, I showed you the law that as soon as a child is reported missing, whether they think they ran away, whether they're just missing or whatever, as soon as the child is reported missing to the police department, they start to look for them right away. If a child is reported to the school district is supposed to get in contact with the police department immediately. Because like I said before, the quicker you start looking for that child, the better chance that you have of finding that child. The school board did not do their job, so they should be investigated too, as far as why they waited so long to turn the information over. They waited from January the 10th, when the grandmother said she went to report it, to February the 13th to turn the information over to the police department.
Now you been involved because at some point you became aware that the Detroit police wanted to talk to you back in February.
They came to the shop and picked me up.
Okay, they actually took you
to headquarters.
Okay, and that was the first time on February 13th, is that right?
That was February 13th, 34th.
Then you said you spoke with them again a couple days later?
Yes. I would believe the first time I spoke with him, I was still on tether, so it had to be some time after I was off tether, yes.
And then you spoke with him again in March, right?
Yes.
And was that a phone conversation?
No. All of our conversations was via person.
So to me, it's like they wanted her, whatever was happening to her, they allowed it. They wanted it to happen. Because I could not see myself, if I had a child, I don't care how bad the child was, if the child kept running away or whatever. I cannot see myself waiting until the next day to call. I'm going to call as soon as I realize they're not at school, they're not with friends. I'm going to call the police department immediately. Knowing that a sex offender is actually molesting your granddaughter, your granddaughter, you still don't call the police. Knowing that there's a sexual predator in the family, you still don't call the police. So to me, it's like you allowed this to happen, and to say you didn't know she was pregnant, those are all lies. You cannot be in the house with a 13. The girl was small. It wasn't like she was, a chunky girl and you could say, okay, I didn't know that she was pregnant. When you look at the pictures of Neziah, she is a very tiny, petite girl. And then to be around 3 to 4 months pregnant, you would notice that. You would notice the changes in her behavior. You would notice certain things. You got this child in your house, but you didn't notice anything. You lied and lied and lied. So why are you lying? And then when they kept trying to put it on Child Protective Services, didn't do their job. You have to understand, when a person, anyone can call Child Protective Service on someone, tell them the truth or tell them the lie. Child Protective Service, their job is to come out and investigate those claims. If they come out to investigate those claims and they do not find anything substantial to say, okay, this child is being abused, they're gonna file the report saying, okay, we talked to this person, which they did. They talked to Jarvis, and then they also took the child, separated the child from the parents, and talked to the child alone. Did a forensic interview with the child. That particular child said nothing happened. So what is it that Child Protective Service is supposed to do? They cannot arrest anyone. That's why the police should have been called. Because as soon as he started violating, not being around children, he could have been arrested. But if everyone is lying for him, if everyone is protecting him, if no one wants to tell the truth as far as what happened to this child, you can't put that on Child Protective Services, because for some reason they didn't want the police involved. That's the thing you have to think about. When he was first, when CPS and everybody was first put on notice that he was messing with the child, no one called the police. So why did they not want the police involved? When she went missing on the 9th, no one called the police. When the grandmother, Annette reported it to the school board on the 10th, they did not get in contact with the police. Why did they not want the police investigating what was going on with this child? Why did they not want the police investigating what was going on in each of these households that Jarvis was connected to, that Jarvis had access to? That's the thing you have to wonder about. What was going on that nobody wanted the police department involved? Like I said, CPS cannot arrest anyone. If they would have came in there and they would have found that something was up, the only thing CPS can do is take those children, but then they have to call the police and report what's going on in the household to the police so they can arrest the guilty parties. But everyone lied to CPS because they didn't want the police involved. So why did they not want the police involved in what was going on in those households? Why did they not want the police involved with searching for Neziah? Was she trafficked? That's why, unless there's a body, because even though the police department says that they have evidence to find out to show that she was dead, why would a grandmother give a killer enough time to dispose of her grandchild, to dispose of the evidence? Because all that person had was time. if she would have called the police right away, that would have, because everyone's saying they saw that girl up until the last people that seen her is when King took the car to his son's grandmother's house, and the grandmother asked them who was that little girl, and one of them said that was Jarvis' niece. That's the last time anybody other than Jarvis and King saw Naziah. King is saying the last time he's seen Naziah is when they went back to the shop, which was around 8 o'clock, because he was on a tether, so he had to be back home at 9. So when they went back to the shop, they divvied up the money, and then he went home, and he said the last time he saw Naziah was alive with Jarvis in that shop. The last time anyone seen Jarvis or heard about Jarvis was on at 9 o'clock when he checked, 9:30 when he checked into the hotel. So look how much time went by that they could have really got that girl, got Naziah away from Jarvis. But the grandmother gave them time. If what Bari is saying, as far as she's saying, oh, I called I'm on the phone with the detective, they said wait 24 hours. She's purposely giving this person a chance to do whatever to her grandchild. And so my question is why? And then Bari, in the interview he stated that, well, let me show you the interview.
I got another question too. We're not gonna get his name or energy, but oh boy, did you get any type of weird vibes when he was around?
I mean, him and I looked at him like my auntie baby daddy, Mm-hmm. I kept it pushing. Okay, that's my auntie baby daddy. Simple. And whatever they had going on between him and my auntie, it was like, you feel me? I was a kid, you feel me?
Right.
You feel me? It wasn't nothing I can do. Stay in the kid's space for real.
That's real talk.
But the only thing, like, where I come in at is like, because I was the only male in the house, and it was my little cousin. But besides that, I was the older male. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I was protective over my aunties. I ain't like seeing her baby daddy come over there and choke my auntie. Oh, none of that. I'm the man in the house. Ain't none of that going on around here. Because other kids live in this house, and they gotta watch that too.
Right.
I ain't going for none of that.
Do you feel like you had to grow up fast?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially after seeing my sister like cry when we got taken away from our mom. When he was in that car when we got dropped off, it was crazy. I had to deal with all that as a big brother,
Right.
Like, I felt like a dad at that moment, even though I didn't know what parenting was at the time. But I had to do what I had to do. I had to be there for my little sister. Man, it was a lot of stuff I couldn't tell her at a young age. She couldn't know stuff. Mama was in and out of jail and stuff.
Yeah.
She didn't even know what jail was.
Right.
So
I mean, that's messed up that you even, like you said, you were still a kid. So it's messed up that you even.
Nothing I could do. Everybody like they saying in the comments, why you ain't reach out and why you ain't. It wasn't really nothing going on. Like besides, it was this one time I came home. Like wait, would you say the question again? Like, did you ever seen? It was just one day my mom came from out of town just to come see and visit me and my little sister, and because he came to see his kids, and he was in the driveway, and I'm next door at my man's house. I come outside, my little sister in the passenger seat inside his car, and his daughter in the back, which is Janiyah, my little cousin, which is Shan's daughter. I look in the passenger seat, and I tell, I'm getting mad. I'm like, I'm at this point, I'm cussing at my little sister. You feel me? Even though I ain't mean to, but I'm being a big brother. Like, what you doing inside a grown man face? Get out the car, go in the house. That's what I said. Get out the car, go in the house. Walked around to his car. Roll your window down, bro. He didn't want to roll his window down. He stepped out his car, opened the door. He was like, what's happening, little nigga? I got triggered because I'm like, hold on, bro.
Right.
With you, I'm trying to talk to you. You feel me? You instantly triggering. You don't know what I'm talking to you about. It could be about anything.
Right. So I mean, what was her reaction with that? Like as far as what you?
We was trying to get in and fight and stuff. Like we was trying to get into it. Like when he came out the car and stuff, and he got rowdy and stuff, we got the squaring up and stuff. But
you and this grown man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Big Bromo.
It was crazy. Big Bromo. I mean, I was in the streets. You feel me? I had my little toolie on me, you know, not to really pull all that off. I had to stay protected myself, right? Even though, you feel me? I don't got no, you know, opposition and nothing out here. I'm not doing nothing bad. It'd be too much going on.
You can see how the family just lied, because Shannon stated that Neziah was never never came out when Jarvis came to see his kids. But you see, Vari stated that he caught his sister in the truck with Jarvis, and Jarvis' daughter was in the back seat. So Shannon is lying. They gave that man full access to that little girl. They gave that man full access to the house, because even in one of the text messages, you could see Neziah talking to Jarvis, stating that she wanted him to go upstairs and she was going to go upstairs to meet him. Then she stated, well, go ahead and be with Shannon because Shannon is horny. She stated that in the one of the text messages, that if he would have went upstairs, Shannon would have followed behind him, because Shannon would have wanted to sleep with him because Shannon was horny. So that lets you know that man had access to that house and had access to that little girl. And you cannot tell me that those grown women did not see that. Those grown women did not get suspicious of a known predator. Those grown women allowed that man to be around other kids. And then you have to also think about what other kids within the household did he touch? What other kid in that household was he grooming, male or female? That man was evil, and they allowed that man to come in around kids. They are still protecting that man, because like I say, if what Vari is saying, as far as the grandmother stated that she reported Zaya missing on the 10th, on the 9th, and was on the phone with the detective, that means she's lying, because under oath, she lied by saying, I reported her missing on the 10th when I went to the school board. Once again, why do they not want the police investigating? Why do they not want that girl found? Because if they wanted her found, they would have called on the 9th to the police department, and they would have immediately went out searching for that girl. And the other thing is with Tavari. He stated that his mother was SA when she was a child, and she let her mother know that, which was their grandmother, Annette, and that Annette ignored her. And that kind of messed with the mother, so that's why the mother ended up doing drugs and also being with a woman.
No nigga before you.
That's another reason why I feel like my mom, like, so, you feel me, messed up, is because, like, I think, you know, my mom, something happened to my mom before too, you know. Mm-hmm. You feel me? My uncles and them came and told me, and I know that my uncle not gonna lie about it. He's gonna keep it 100. Yeah. And I believe him. I believe my mom. Something happened, and she tried to tell her mom, and I guess she didn't believe her. You know, so I'm just going back on this situation, and like, I love my grandma, but at the end of the day, like, we gotta break that generational curse.
We gotta open up your eyes.
You feel me? Yeah. We not still stuck in the back. This we in 2025.
2025 for real. There's a lot of other shit going on.
What I'm going to do is show you a video of a man that the internet is saying is Annette's brother, and he's also on the registration list as being I think it was like a 3-tier sex offender, which meant that there was a chance that he would essay another child. There was a strong possibility that he would go out and essay another child, but they had him with Neziah. They allowed him to be around Neziah. Once again, they know these men are into little children, but they still allow these men to be around little children. So it's like they're feeding the beast. Why are you feeding the beast? Because you're getting something from it. You're getting something out of it. And so let me go ahead and share that with you. And you can see the way he's holding on to Naziah. That's the same way a man who has a girlfriend, he's in love with his girlfriend, or he's in love with his wife, and he's behind her, he's gonna grab on her and be kind of like kissing on her a little bit, or like just very close to her. That look romantic. That don't look playful. Like some people are saying, oh, that's just playful. No, that looked more romantic to me. And it also looked like he's sitting on a bed, like they're in a bedroom. Why would a grown man that's a registered offender be in a bedroom hugged up to a little girl? So what is really going on in that household? What are they allowing these grown men to do to these little children knowingly? And I'm going to say knowingly, because it's like you would have to be deaf, dumb, and blind not to see what's going on, not to get the inkling of these men are predators, but you still choose to allow them around little children. So everyone needs to be investigated. Why it took so long for them to call the police, anybody to call the police to have them look for that little girl, knowing there was a strong chance that she was with a predator, a pedophile. And they still keeping their mouth shut as far as what they know. I would just bring all of them in, lock them all up until they start confessing and telling what they know about that little girl, because she didn't deserve none of them. None of them deserved to have her in their life, because all they did is just set her up to be a victim, to be used and to be abused and thrown away like trash.